From the Golden Tower of the Fisher Building, this is the great voice of the Great Lakes. News Talk 760. WJR, Detroit.
When you talk about momentum, you have come out and have been truthful with the citizens of Detroit. You have just come out and said what you needed to say, and is what you believe. One of those instances is when you told people, it's time to get off the porch. Get off the porch and take some of these jobs that we have jobs here. And some people looked at that and said, well, what is the mayor, what is he trying to say? It is what it is.
We've come to a period in history where nobody can afford to be on the sidelines. Everybody has to contribute. We can't have mass, we've come to a period where we can't afford poverty anymore. That's a strange thing to say, but we have a tremendous amount of drain and press on our social system here, from mental health to the correction system in this state, to the homeless network, to unemployment benefits, to a lot of different things that are now not helping the situation, and we should be putting that on the front end: education, workforce training, all those type of things. But there are things available out there. We just need to help people find those things that are available. And then secondly, we need to make sure that those able-bodied young men and women, white, black, Hispanic, Latino, Arab, Chaldean, Asian, have access to employment, access to capital, access to opportunity, but they're willing to get up and do a lot of things for themselves. And this is just not a period of time in history in Michigan where we could just sit around and say we're not getting involved. We got to get involved. We got to get up. We have to get out. And we have to get involved. We have 300 jobs that are attached to our new healthcare career center. All right, we need people to go get those jobs. We have jobs attached to our customer service and retail, hospitality career centers. We have jobs in the city of Detroit. I'm looking for over 600-700 police officers right now. Firefighters, bus drivers, engineers, mechanics to fix our vehicles. Right now, we need people who are qualified to come and help us fill these positions in city government, and then also in the private sector. So the issue that there are no jobs is just not true. They still have nursing shortages all over the city, all 3 hospital systems. But we have to figure out how to get a person to move from one particular career path to another, or a person to move from the auto industry into a job, an emerging industry, or a person to move from doing nothing into an industry. And that's what I was saying. It's time for us to get up, get out, get active, and go for it and stop complaining so much.
This January 15th primary has just been causing all of this commotion. And now, a judge in Ingham County has said, can't happen because, the state's spending money on this primary, but the list of Democrats and Republicans that are garnered from this primary just go to the different parties, to the Republicans and the Democrats. You can't do that. You can't use public money for this private issue here. Now, the GOP, the national GOP, says, well, you guys have lost half of your delegates. The National Democratic Committee is saying we may lose 100% of ours. Your thoughts on that?
Well, I think it'll all work out in the end. Michigan, I really do. I think Michigan is an important state still. The number of electoral votes that we have is substantial in getting the president elected. We're still a very, very, very strong swing state. So both parties feel that they could win it. And they'll be in here. They'll figure out how to fix it. And then Lansing will figure out how to address the Public Act that passed to make this election happen. I think that it is interesting, though, that there's so much conversation about this right now, which means the system in Michigan has already been shaken up. This primary or caucus has always been controlled by a few people. The irony of democracy is that a few people go to Lansing and make decisions for all of us. But in the caucus perspective, it's been the same way. Well, the people of the state of Michigan are saying we all want to participate, and who wants to be the next president. It seems like it's a few people now that are outside the legislative process that are saying, no, we want to continue to have that control. I think Lansing will fix it. I think everybody will have a voice. I think the presidential candidates are coming through here. I think you'll see them campaigning. Bill Clinton was here last night, campaigning for, his wife, Senator Clinton, and you're going to see a lot more people coming through. All of the rhetoric that's been thrown out there will go away when we get in full campaign mode, because Michigan is critical to everyone's campaign.
Have you picked a presidential candidate at this point?
At this point, I have not. I don't think it's advantageous to us now. You know, I'm watching all of the candidates. You know, everybody say the train has already left the station. You better get in line now. But I think we're big enough in Michigan that we can create some space. You know, I think that we'll be all right. And I believe that the important race is the general. You know, people always jockeying in a primary. You know, I lost the primary. You know, if the race stopped at the primary, I wouldn't be sitting here with you.
That's right.
I mean, the race for president is won in the general election. And the real issues, not the issues of the moment, the political issues of the moment, but the real issues that will determine who the next president will be after we know who the Democratic nominee is and who the Republican nominee is.
City Council wants to sit down with the police department, someone from the police department, because they say it's an environment of lawlessness in the city of Detroit, that the precincts that were closed last year, that's the reason why we have slower response. We need to open up more precincts.
Yeah. The misinformation at that table is astounding. You know, it really is. And, you know, I'm so glad that they don't market for our city. You know, I love them very dearly, but you know, to use those kind of terms and to put that kind of information out and to say those things only adds fuel to the fire of ignorance that's out there about our city and this negative stigma we've been fighting for 50 years. The closing of the precincts has nothing to do with, you know, why. Buildings don't guard people. People on the police department go out and patrol, not the building. And so, you know, we've explained that 100 times, but it's sexy when people hear about it. So they run with it. But we'd be happy to send the police department up there. You know, but there's some very real issues that we have on crime in the city of Detroit. I mean, that's something we've been dealing with for 40, 50 years. I've been committed to fighting it. We need police officers. The biggest problem right now is the shortage of police officers and manpower that we have on the street.
A lot of retirements going on.
A lot of retirements, and you know, our process to recruit and bring people into the academy is such a long, truncated process. You know, you have so many checks, rightfully so, for a person to be a police officer. You want psychological, all this kind of background checks, and, you know, all these different, it takes so long to fill a class. And so we're working now. We're going to expedite that process. But we also need committed men and women who want to serve, who want to raise their hand and serve in the Detroit Police Department, which is a tremendous career, tremendous retirement. You know, it's 20 years and out. You know, you join the police department at 20 years old, you can retire at 40. I mean, this is, you know, an opportunity for people to have a couple different careers and come here and serve and do so many different things. And that's what we need. So, you know, it would have been better if if the conversation at council was, we need police officers and we need to figure out how to get the police department in here to tell us how they're going after more police officers so we can get that message out, you know. But, you know, you can't tell our city council what to do. I love them dearly, but I wish that sometimes we could not put that kind of misinformation out.
A lot of building going on in the city of Detroit. You got the refurbishing of the Book Cadillac. We have the casinos that are building their permanent facilities. Pickford Shelby, housing, all of that going on. But I had to ask you about Ford Auditorium. You know, Ford Auditorium is sitting on this prime piece of waterfront land. I know the Fords gave it to the city as a gift, but it's sitting there, it's boarded up, you know, and what is it doing? It's a prime piece of land. Are we doing something with it?
Absolutely. We're having discussions all the time about Ford Auditorium. I would have torn it down a few years ago, but I don't want to just tear it down without a concrete plan of what we're going to do moving forward. We have a Hart Plaza plan that we've gone to the state with. That plan doesn't include Ford Auditorium. And so as soon as we get the requisite approvals for our plan and we figure out and we identify a financial, you know, how we're going to pay for it, we're going to bring it down. I mean, it's outlived its useful life. It's just sitting there dormant.
Did you graduate from there?
I did not.
Graduation?
My graduation was in the Masonic Temple.
Okay.
So, yeah, and a lot of people graduate. But you know what? I did a recital in Ford Auditorium.
Okay.
You know, I played the drums there, and then I was in the choir in my church, and we did
so everybody came through there.
You had to come through Ford Auditorium.
Okay.
You're really not a Detroiter unless you've been through Ford Auditorium. So I had my stint at Ford Auditorium, but I graduated over at the Masonic. But we need to take it down. It's had its useful life. People think I want to tear everything down. I really don't. But some buildings have to go. They really do have to go. And that's one of the buildings that, you know, I'm just telling Detroit now, we're tearing it down. We just have to make sure that we have a plan behind the demolition of Ford Auditorium. And I think Detroiters will be happy when we come out with that plan.